God damn it, I just took my hand off again. Stop doing it. Alright, what is up, everybody? Out on the streets of Philly again with another Moto John video for you today. Actually coming out of the streets of Philly over in Ballackinwood. We're going to take a little cruise through a little bit of suburbs today, actually, kind of through Narberth, Ardmore, that area, just a little northwest outside of Center City, Philly, where you normally see me. So if you're tuning in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit this video with a like, drop any comments down there. I got a good conversation planned for today. The topic for today's video is actually kind of inspired by, I've been lucky enough to ride with a good amount of different people lately. Usually I've been used to riding a lot by myself, but this summer I've been lucky to kind of network with some people, meet up with some people, riding with my dad a couple times, friend over in Jersey, some different guys in Philly. You saw the Cheesesteak Run last weekend with 10-12 guys. And being able to ride with some different guys here and there, it gets you starting to kind of think about, you know, different styles of riding and different habits people have. And, you know, you kind of watch different things that they do and you say, you know, do I do that? Is that good? Is that bad? Should I be doing that? You know, I think you just kind of have to ride within your comfortable skill set. You know, whatever you're comfortable with to keep yourself safe. But it's interesting just to see some of the different little habits or little quirks that people have. And it got me to thinking, kind of like analyzing some of my own riding, like what are some bad habits that I have that I should be aware of to make sure that I'm personally, you know, keeping myself and, you know, others around me safe as I'm riding. And I think that could be a lot of different things. Like, for example, you know, I was riding with my dad and I'm noticing that he, like, for some reason, I don't know why, he literally only uses his back brake. And I don't get it. Like, on a big touring cruiser like the Street Glide he has, I mean, you need that front brake where all that momentum is pushing towards to really stop you. I mean, he's never had any problems, nothing major. But I noticed he just always uses his back brake. And I don't know if that's because, you know, he grew up riding choppers and stuff like that. Old school bikes. You know, a lot of those bikes, you know, they didn't even have a front brake. They only had a rear brake. And he said that's, I asked him about it, he said that's just habit, like, for whatever reason, that's just the way that he's always done it. He gets a little bit of front brake every now and then, but I'm pulling up next to him, like, every time we're pulling up to a light, and he is just, like, always on the back brake, and that's it. And most safe practices always tell you that you should use a combination of both, and most of your stopping power is coming from the front brake. So there's different things like that that I've noticed, like riding with some different people, and just kind of made me take a look at, you know, some things that I do that are kind of bad habits that I get into. And in no particular order, I'm just gonna ramble off some of these as we're cruising along here through Narberth, neighborhood of Narberth here. Ooh, a little police dog in there. So one of my first bad habits is kind of a really bad one, is I don't wear a whole lot of gear. I always do helmet, gloves, jeans, but I mean, everybody says all the gear all the time, and I know, obviously, like, I know, we as riders, we know that's what you're supposed to do. That's kind of one of my bad habits. I'm not usually out in a flannel, t-shirt, jeans, Vans. When it gets colder, I always jacket up, protective jacket, things like that. When I go out on the highway, I do a heavier boot, heavier jacket. A lot of times around town, that's one of my bad habits, is I'm not always fully geared up. Always helmet though, always gloves. It's kind of one of the risks that, you know, you take as a rider. You make the decisions of how you're going to ride, what you're going to do when you ride, what you wear, and you kind of accept any consequences that come after that. So all the gear all the time, or lack thereof for me sometimes, is definitely one of my bad habits. So that's the first one. These are not in any particular order, like I said, just gonna ramble them off, but I am saving my own personal worst habit for last, so make sure you stick around for that. So the next one that I have is I get a little distracted sometimes, driving around the city mostly. You know, you're looking at buildings, you're seeing stuff from a different perspective on the bike than what you're normally used to seeing. You're seeing people, you know, you start staring at people, like, what is this person doing? Like, oh, look at that cool building, I've never seen it like that before. And any moment of distraction that kind of pulls you away from your focus, any split second like that you don't have to make a decision of what you need to do, or someone's pulling out or someone's stopping, that can kind of get a little bad. I stay pretty good with that for the most part. I always say, you know, you got to use the terms hyper-aware, hyper-focused, but every now and then you get some of those little distractions that kind of pull you away, and you always got to make sure that you're getting refocused on what you need to do to be safe. Another bad habit of mine is patience in traffic, and what I mean by that is, obviously, you know, you're in a city, get stuck in all this traffic, you know, stop signs, lights and everything. And I don't mean patience within the traffic specifically, I mean patience when I get out of the traffic. Like, when I get out of the traffic, I'm usually a little annoyed, and I want to kind of like let it rip, get out of there. And I do the same thing in a car. Like, when I'm stuck in traffic in a car, you get out of it, you want to get going, you want to get some momentum going. So that's one of the things I need to work on, is once even getting out of stopped traffic for, you know, a long period of time, 10, 15, 20 minutes like that, just make sure that I don't go ripping on it, flying around all over the place. Like I said, I do that in a car sometimes, also bad. Because when you come out of that, you know, you don't know if you have a hazard ahead, you don't know if you have like more parked vehicles up there, people crossing the street, or, you know, who knows why the traffic was slow in the first place. But just take it easy once you get out of there. Maybe be patient, analyze what's going on, you know, get safely out of whatever's going on in the traffic. Don't come flying and ripping out of there just because you want to kind of like make up time or whatever. Look at that. So we're passing Kobe Bryant's old high school right here, Lower Marion High School. Kobe. So the next one that I can think of after patience in traffic, which is important, is this one's really bad actually. This is one that I really need to work on. Is putting my bike in neutral at a stoplight. And I always do that, and that's kind of a really bad thing, because the moment that you put that bike in neutral, if something happens behind you, if there's someone doesn't stop behind you and they come rushing up, you know, and you have to take that split second to get your bike back in gear so that you can hit, you know, an exit point, or that you can get out of the way if you see it coming, that split second could be a major difference between an accident and not having an accident. Because ideally what you want to do when you come up to a light, you're holding in the clutch, you're in first, you're looking ahead, you're getting a little glimpse behind you. If you see something coming up, you need to have an exit route where you can scoot to the side, scoot over to the other way. But if you have that bike in neutral and you have to click down into first or whatever, get into gear, that split second that it takes to get there, like I said, could be the major difference between something bad happening or kind of saving your life of getting out of the way. So here's an example of what I mean by that. I'm pulling up to a stoplight, you know, I'm going to be waiting here a while, you know, most of the time. I'm clicking around, up, down, neutral, take my hands off, relax like this, even both hands off, that's kind of bad. What if someone comes up behind me? I got to stomp into first real quick. If I'm already in there, with first gear, you can just take off and get out of the way, whether it's to an exit route to the side or whether it's just straight ahead to get out of there and avoid any problems. That's one thing that I really need to work on. I know I do it a lot, stop traffic, just because you're like, how long is this going to take? Lights in the city, they take freaking forever sometimes. But that's one thing that I know that I really need to work on, is not getting lazy, not taking both hands off at lights or intersections, and staying in first gear and getting ready to go if I need to, if there's any crazy stuff coming up from behind me. the last one, coming up on my last one that is a really bad one for me, I'm literally doing it right now, is I'm always taking my other hand off the handlebar. Like, for whatever reason, I'm just getting lazy. I'm just kind of cruising along, you know, one hand on the throttle. That's a really bad and common one that I do, and the reason that that's bad is because if you need to hit that clutch real quick, if you need to change gears real quick, if you need to maneuver and swerve, avoid something real quick, if you have one hand, if you only have one hand up there on the throttle, you can't maneuver and swerve the way that you should be. You can't hit that clutch the way that you need to hit it, and that can be really bad. And that's one that I just seem to do so frequently, and I don't know why. If it just feels more comfortable, if I'm just cruising along, I think nothing's gonna happen. You know, obviously something could happen literally at any time, but you need both hands up here and ready to go, ready to avoid any problems, any disasters like that. Also, like I said, if you need to grab that clutch real quick, you need to be able to do that instead of having your hand down here. That split second, that's another thing. That's a split second where if you're not ready for it, that could be a big problem. Although I mean, a lot of times I'm doing that on the highway. Like, if I'm just cruising, you just got one hand up, you're just relaxing, you pretty much aware of, you know, what's coming up, what's coming behind you, nothing crazy going on. But there's always that circumstance where, you know, you need to get on that other handlebar, you need to swerve and, you know, miss something, you need to grab the clutch, you need to change gears. That split second, if you're not prepared for that, again, something bad could happen. So we just went through, like I said, Ballackinwood, Narberth, Ardmore, coming through a little town, Bryn Mawr right now. These are all kind of suburbs leading you out towards what's known as the main line. People probably heard of that. Out Route 30. Look at that, I just did it again. One hand. Stop doing that. Anyways, yeah, like I said, pass through some of those little towns. Just want to kind of have that, start that little conversation. Be curious to see what, you know, other people identify as some of those bad habits that they might have. Are you even aware of them? Let me know down in the comments. Are you aware of some of those bad habits, or had you never really even thought about it until now? Is there certain things that you need to work on as a rider? Are any of your bad habits kind of the same as mine, and how do you plan to work on those or rectify those? Let me know down there in the comments. So that's going to wrap it up for today. We're going to keep cruising out here, but we're going to turn the camera off after that conversation. So, like I said, let me know about some of those bad habits. If you have any, if you're aware of them. God damn it, I just took my hand off again. Stop doing it. Anyways, drop a comment down there. Let me know. Like I said, we'll keep riding for today. As always, thanks for tuning in. Ride safe out there. Make sure you hit the channel with a subscribe. Hit us with a like. As always, we'll catch you on the next one. It's the Moto John. We'll see y'all on down the road.